when we're looking to use automation through the bank feed, it's important that we understand the types of transactions that we're looking to match or add in QuickBooks. So here we're looking at an example of matching to an outstanding invoice and what that creates within QuickBooks. So if I go to banking down the left hand side, click on banking there, you can see here we've got 20 transactions in our to-do list on our bank feed, and they're split between the spend and receive worlds. So I can just look at my receipts here. So if I click on received in the column at the top, it'll put all the received payments in a line here in amount order. And in this example here, we're going to look at matching to an invoice. So we can see here on the example here with the second item down that we've got £1,000 arriving in 16th of June. And it's suggested that we've got two possible matches to that. Two records have been found that QuickBooks has looked at and said they could be possible matches. So it's very amount driven, so QuickBooks will have certainly looked by amount, but if we click on the two records found there, we can look at its suggestions. And here it's suggested that there's an invoice, both invoices for Tom, two invoices that are outstanding, one invoice number 1010, one invoice number 1012, and on this occasion the bank description that's fed in from the bank is showing me that he's paid invoice 1012. So it's ideal if your customers, your clients quote an invoice number on here, makes life easier, and QuickBooks has identified that and it's suggested the allocation to the top one there, which is the 1012. Yeah, so it's got the allocation correct there. If I wasn't certain, I could click on the blue link there, I could delve into the transaction, have a look at the transaction, make sure I was comfortable, but in this occasion, if I click on there now, match to this invoice, what's happening behind the scenes is that QuickBooks is then entering the received payment. So there's no need for me to go in and receive the payment against this particular invoice. It's fed from the bank, it's matched together, and the receipt of payment is then recorded, and it will show that this invoice is no longer outstanding in the records. So I'm going to click match on there. That's removed it from the transactions here, so I've only got 19 left, not the original 20. And you can see the suggestion here on the next line down, instead of two records, now become one record because it knows that record has been used up. And if I go and search more recent transactions through the little search button at the top here, I can see that I can go to this invoice and we'll be able to see that that particular invoice is in, but now it's showing a payment against it. So I can see the payment marker to the right there. If I click on the payment marker, click on the date there, it brings up the payment. This is the received payment that has been created by my action. And if I click on the little blue online banking matches list there, it tells me that I've used up that particular line that's came through on the bank feed. The date is the same as the received payment. It's created it on the correct date. Everything looks good in there. It's already saved it for me. So I don't need to take any action in terms of telling it that I've received that particular money against that invoice. So that's receiving money against invoices in QuickBooks. QuickBooks will look for the match, and you can then guide it as to which is the correct invoice that you're matching against. Or if it can't find an invoice but you know an invoice is in there, then you would look to steer it towards that invoice to match. So whenever money's coming in from a customer, from a client, where you've raised an invoice, you are looking there to create the match so that it will match to that invoice. And that's an example of matching an invoice through the bank feed in QuickBooks.